very happy and extremely hot afternoon in February from the Panama Canal. So I'm up at the Miraflores Locks and I've just been giving a live virtual tour. I have still a lot of restrictions here because of COVID, but I did want to just share at this time. There is a giant container ship in the distance that has gone through the new locks that just opened a couple of years ago, the expansion of the Panama Canal. Of course, the Panama Canal was built between 1904 and 1913, opened 1914 officially by the Americans. Panama took its independence in 1903 from Colombia, really, so that they could assign a contract for the building of this mighty canal. But this is, of course, the greatest crossroads of business anywhere on planet Earth. I am looking right now, you'd think west, but really south. In fact, slightly southeast down into the Pacific Ocean. There is just down around the corner of the Bridge of the Americas. The biggest hill in the distance there on the other side is really where the city of Panama is. And at night you see this huge line of ships out in the water waiting for their turn through. About 40 ships come through a day. This morning they were coming from the Pacific and up towards the Caribbean or the Atlantic Ocean, and now they're coming the other way. So that big container has been going through these upper locks for about an hour now. So it had come in through Cologne up 2 locks and then across Lake Gatun, and now coming through these massive locks here, and soon it'll start lowering down. Lovely to see a pelican flying around, even see crocodiles down in some of the side water. Now the water's a bit low, it's been very dry, although it's been rainy the last couple of days, but it's been very dry here, so much so it's actually restricted the movement of ships through. But let me just take the opportunity to curve around, because after seeing that giant Panamax ship, Panamax really means the largest ships in the world because they max out the Panama Canal. But as I curve around here, here is another big ship. I'm presuming liquefied natural gas or something, but I really don't know. But this is how they are traditionally brought through the canal. So they have these huge tugs. Well, they're huge in power, not in size, both pulling and braking the ship as it comes through. The biggest ships will actually reach just centimeters either side. And in fact, if you can look in the distance even further, there's yet another massive ship make its way into the new wider locks. So really, I guess 4 channels that come through the Panama Canal. There's another bridge over. It's quite fun to say that basically we're standing in South America here, and you cross over and you go to North America. Obviously Panama is a long thin country, 4.2 million people, half of whom live in the capital, Panama City. Panama is, in Latin American standards, a booming economy. Obviously when you have the crossroads of the world, it makes a huge difference. They did go through a massive lockdown during COVID, but the economy is coming back now. Tourism is important here too. I've already seen a few cruise ships. In fact, people coming to visit. Sorry, it's getting very windy all of a sudden. But I just felt this was an opportunity to share this spectacular view here. In terms of temperature, it's probably around 30 degrees Celsius or 86, I guess, Fahrenheit, but 100% humidity. And so one of the moving points that I always like to talk about when I do come here to Panama is the fact that this was plotted out, of course, by the Spanish as early as the 1520s, and proven by Balboa that they could cross over from one ocean to the other, which meant the Viceroyalty of Lima could move all of the sacked wealth from South America, from the mines in Potosi and what is now Bolivia, so if I bring it up to the coast, they used to walk it across the mountains in the distance here over to Portobello. On the other side, it was the Royal Route, or the Route of Crosses, as there were so many deaths along it. Only about 50 miles, 80 kilometers across. And then, of course, those ships would sail out to Havana and over to Spain. And so the French and British response to that were to legalize buccaneers, which were pirates. And so Francis Drake, Henry Morgan, in fact, Henry Morgan in the 1660s, 1670s, sacked old Panama, burnt it to the ground, and in turn they built Casco Viejo, which is now the old town, but is the newer one, which really was the main center of Panama until very modern Panama came along. So here's just a chance. The big ship is being brought in, and as it'll get locked in place, the tug had brought it through earlier, as it gets locked in place. Then they'll lower the water, and suddenly the ship will make its way down to the lower lock and released out to get out into the Pacific Ocean. So this is just a little taster video. If you can see way in the back there, there's another ship way back there. Now people are starting to crowd in to watch all of this. And it looks like there's maybe some rain building up in the back. Hot and humid and really rather spectacular. The way I'm looking here, by the way, is about an 8-hour drive or so to get to the border, near the border with Costa Rica. And of course the other border with Panama is with Colombia. But there is a 100-kilometer, 66-mile gap with no roads. It is known as the Darien Gap. Dense, dangerous jungle. And say when I talk about this dense, dangerous jungle, until it was understood that mosquitoes carried yellow fever, literally, not figuratively, but literally thousands and thousands of people died building this canal or trying to manage the canal. So it is moving. But Darien, there's no road through there because it's one of the main principal areas of smuggling anywhere in the world. And famously quite a dangerous area. And also, as a side note, really the main reason behind the Act of Union between Scotland and England in creating the United Kingdom, and that is because the Darien Company, in the late 1690s, was financed by pretty much every Scot through these giant ledgers, and they thought they would control the movement of goods through what eventually became the Panama Canal. And the colony was wiped out because of malaria and yellow fever, but also, of course, the English colony didn't trade with them, and then the English elite offered to pay off the debt of the Scottish elite, and they signed an Act of Union. So there's just one of the many, many, many stories that come from this great canal. So I'm not going to stand here and just wait for all the water to lower down, but you get a sense of this mighty infrastructure that has really changed the world as we've seen it today. So there, ladies and gentlemen, is just a quick hello from the Panama Canal. Please feel free to subscribe on YouTube here, follow us, or of course, join us anytime for a live virtual tour. There's so much to see and discover and enjoy in the world. And I will be heading home, back up to the Canadian Rockies in a few days, but I find myself surprisingly in Panama quite often. So let's hope for peace in the world, everyone. And it's really lovely to share this time with you. I'm just sorry, I just keep watching this lovely frigate bird just riding the wind out here, another one in the distance. But there we go, so they'll start lowering the water down through here. And that other huge container ship has already moved up and behind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all the very best, and thank you for connecting.